and welcome to Good Emma's Kitchen with me, Katie. This year we are celebrating International Women's Day 2025 with 6 amazing women from different industries. I can't wait to get started with our cook-alongs. It's going to be so much fun. We're not just cooking with 6 different women in business, we are cooking across the globe, heading to all sorts of countries to really invigorate you and entice you and inspire you to cook along with us. The recipes and the ingredients are all available over on Instagram on my stories, so please do cook along with us, get involved and feel inspired as we celebrate International Women's Day 2025 with a bang. There are 6 cook-alongs for you to enjoy with either brunch, lunch or dinner each week. I really hope you enjoy this series. I've loved making it and I've loved cooking along. Hello and welcome to Good Emma's Kitchen. Our 4th guest for International Women's Day celebration cook-along is Faye Dicker, voiceover artist and founder and owner of Freelance Mum, a networking community and hub all across the country that supports women in business and female entrepreneurs. I can't wait for you to meet her and for us to cook. We are heading to Italy. We're going to make a delicious dinner together. And I think her children are involved. I will see you there. Hello and welcome to International Women's Day 2025. Throughout March, we are celebrating a variety of different women throughout different industries to see how they have accelerated action, which is this year's theme. And today we have our 4th guest, the one and only Faye Dicker, who's not only a voiceover artist, but a founder of Freelance Mum. And it has grown exponentially over the last year. And I cannot wait to find out more about her. And we're heading over to Italy with the kids in tow on a Friday night to make a delicious cod puttanesca, which is meant to be with spaghetti, but we're just knocking that to one side because we're making it with cod. Well, I'm making it with haddock because it's more in season and it's what the fishmonger had available. And we're going to chat all about her. But I just want to say hello, Faye. Do you want to say hello and introduce yourself even more than I already have?
Well, hi, first of all, Katie. It's always so lovely to see you. And I think it's so delicious and delightful in every sense of the word to spend Friday night hanging out with you, cooking some really lovely food. My husband's away this weekend, so it's really nice actually to cook a nice dish that I can enjoy with the girls later. So I'm really looking forward to this. And I don't think I need to add much more. I think basically you introduced me beautifully, but in short, I'm all about supporting mums in business. And as far as I'm concerned, community absolutely has to be at the heart of everything you do. And without community, you can feel quite isolated and alone. And with community, you can do anything. And Katie, you are an essential member of the Freelance Mum community. And it's a real joy to have you in the Southampton hub. So thank you for inviting me on this cook along tonight.
Oh, you're very welcome. I love being part of every network that I'm part of, but the Freelance Mum has a special kind of moment in my heart because it really does give me so much confidence in not just being a mum, but being a mum in business, and juggling those two can be pretty tricky. So before I get you to cut your onions, I've got a shallot because that's what I had, and shallots are in season. So if it's an onion, it doesn't matter whether it's white or red or a shallot. I like to use what's in season. I like to be sustainable and eco-friendly. So use what you have in the fridge. I really am an advocate of that. But as I said, juggling motherhood and a business is such a tricky thing to do, and getting the balance can feel really clunky and messy and a bit scary and a bit overwhelming at times. And I just want to ask about your networking space and how you have inspired other mums to kind of be brave and share each other's journey together, and how you do that really through your hubs.
So, while I get to that, how do you want me to slice my onion? Do you want little finely diced? You tell me.
I would like you, well, you're cooking with children, so it depends how they like to eat them, because children are specifically or particularly sensory focused, and so sometimes if you slice them, they can taste more of the onion because of the length of the onion, which I know it sounds silly to an adult, but actually it does make a really big impact. So if you can dice them when you're cooking with children, they tend to get a mouthful of all of the flavors rather than one more than the other. And so the shape, although they always whinge about the shape of the food, they are right. You do get different amounts of flavor depending on the shape that you cut them. So if you could dice your onions for this puttanesca dish, I'd be really grateful.
I will. I promise to dice my onions. Now I've forgotten the question that you asked me. What question did you ask me, Katie Evans? And shall I start heating my oil while we talk?
Yes, please.
Right. What was the question? Were you talking about freelance mum and the hubs, weren't you? And the last year, was that right?
I'm asking about because we're juggling motherhood and business, what inspired you to create a networking space specifically for freelance mums to bring them together and how they can feel more confident juggling that business and motherhood?
So basically, Freelance Mum was born of my own need, being a freelance voiceover artist, struggling to juggle motherhood around business. And I just couldn't find a space for fellow mums like me. And I just thought, well, if I can't find it, I'm just going to have to create it. And I look back now, I mean, my girls are now 10 and 12, nearly 11 and 13. And I started it when Suki was, well, I started it initially as a podcast when Jemima was a baby because I was a broadcaster. So I was like, right, broadcasting's easy to me. I'll just do what comes natural.
Yeah.
So to me, creating a podcast was the easy thing to do. Just create a podcast. Why not, Katie?
Yeah, let's do that.
That's a great idea, isn't it? But I think I was sort of, I was really missing something. I was missing, because I wasn't back in the workplace, and I missed that there's water cooler moments. So I thought, well, I'll just create a community. I'll just create this community.
Yeah.
So I did that with my daughter Jemima as a baby, and then by the time she was a bit older than that, I realised that actually what we needed was face-to-face networking, and a safe space where we could turn up, bring our children. And by this point, I then had my second child, Suki. And so I then started in-person networking events that allowed you to network and to crucially bring your baby or your child. It didn't even have to be about bringing a baby. And I realised, it was quite interesting because I remember in those early meetings, people saying to me, oh, can I come? My children are at school now, but can I come? And at the time I thought, well, why would you want to come?
Yeah.
But of course, now I realise it's ages and stages. It doesn't actually matter how old your children are. It's just a different set of juggles, and it's also ever evolving. So, so that's it really. And I can remember the net walk was always key because I realised that one, it's really good to be outdoors, but two, conversations are so much easier to have when you're outdoors, when you've got children, if you've got a little babe that's strapped to you or if you've got a toddler on a scooter. And actually it's vital. And we pivoted during lockdown, and there was a point where I slightly contemplated just making it online, or in fact my husband was the one saying, make it online, just go online now. I said, no, being outdoors is actually key, and it's actually critical. And it would have been much easier at that point to have said, no, I'm going to make it online. But actually, being outdoors, I think, is a really important part of human connection and having that. So, and I now
connecting with the seasons. When you're a mum, please put your hob on, please. It needs to be like a medium high. We're going to heat up that oil.
Yeah.
If you haven't got oil in the pan, really good 2-3 tablespoons of olive oil. As always, the cookery school is using 2-in-1 olive oil from Hampshire and from Spain. It's called juggling for a reason because it's got such a beautiful heritage. They're a Hampshire family with Spanish heritage. If you haven't tried it, please go and try it. It's absolutely delicious, and it's all the cookery school uses now. It's got all those polyphenols in, and it's a really great product that I really stand by. I don't get anything out of it. I just love it that much that I talk about it all the time.
Oh, I love how passionate you are about this, Katie. I really love it.
I think it's really important to know what goes into your body and goes into your children, and how the effect it has on your body and all the nutritional elements of it. And there are reasons why we make these decisions, and they're mindful decisions that really impact your health, impact how you show up as a business, how you show up as a woman in business. And I think the more we can talk about it openly in a household or in business with colleagues, the more knowledge we get and the more confident we get in making those decisions. Actually, I'm not going to buy this from this shop, I'm going to buy that because that impacts me and supports me more. And I think that's part of the kind of freelance mum ethos, is about finding your voice as a woman in business and as a mother in business. Because when you start off being a mum, you don't really feel like you have a voice or you feel seen and heard. By the way, put your onions in now. They should be warm.
They're in. Don't you worry, Katie. Yeah.
But I'm a bit behind. But you don't feel, especially when you're a new mum and you've got a baby and you're sleep deprived, you don't always feel like you have a voice or that it can feel heard because you're so sleep deprived and you're juggling all of these things. And you want to kind of run a business and you want to be your person, but juggling that can be hard. And I found through meeting different people at ages and stages, like you said, at Freelance Mum, that it's that connection, and that building those connections really helps you to find your voice and hone in what you think and what you believe and what your opinions are. And I think it helps you to go back into the workplace with a sense of, actually, I know I've got something to give and I've got something to say, as a parent and as a woman in business. Would you agree with that?
100%, 100%. It's about being empowered and feeling empowered.
Yeah.
Do you want to see what? Can I get my saucepan now? I'm trying to work out my saucepan angle for you.
You can have some garlic. You just need to peel it, and I'm going to slice mine. Again, it's about texture. But if your children aren't so keen on a punchy garlic, then do grate it in. It will make it smaller.
No, they've been brought up in a very garlicky household, so they're fine with that.
Oh yeah, then nice. I'm just going to show you what I'm up to. So sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I was just saying, I think that actually, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So we're empowering each other by teaching each other and educating each other in what is actually a really kind way. So, I was at the Bath Network this morning, actually, Katie, and we were just talking about how I was chatting to one of my graphic designers, and I was saying how actually I think that she's really good at coaching people. And she was making the point that she doesn't want people to feel as though, she just gives you this lovely package, beautiful graphics, and that you come away and you always need her. She wants people to feel empowered and to go off and to be able to, do their thing. It's like, actually, that is what Freelance Mum is all about. It's about all of us educating each other, teaching each other, empowering each other, lifting each other up, inspiring each other, creating a safe space where you can say, oh, cripes, I don't know what I'm doing this week. And no one thinks you're any less professional, but the very fact that you're there and, you can just ask the question, there's always someone there to guide you, I think is really important.
Absolutely. Every time I've done these cook-alongs, everyone's always so brilliant at what they do. Leading on to the next question has been like super smooth and super like a dream to interview and chat and cook with all these amazing women in business. I just say I'm absolutely loving it. But International Women's Day is all about uplifting women and mothers and women in business and championing them. How important it is that community and collaboration for freelance mums?
Oh, it's essential. It's absolutely vital, because I think the trouble is that as a freelancer and as a mother, you can, both roles can be isolating. Both roles can be incredibly enriching and amazing, but they can both be quite isolating. Both roles are roles in which you can feel as though I'm making it up as I go along. There's no rule book here, which is great, but it can also be at times a bit bewildering. And I think the interesting thing about motherhood and being self-employed is that in both cases, you've got no idea of what's ahead of you. And you think out to that first moment, you've got that babe in your arms, and actually probably just as well. Because
and I think you're in charge. Yeah, I remember them going, right, off you go. I'm like, okay, right. Yeah. In business too, you get your domain, you buy your business name, you do all the kind of nitty gritty bits, and go, right, okay, I'm up. Now what?
Exactly that. And you can do in both cases. You can read the books, you can go on courses if you want, you can do all those things, but at the end of the day, you're the one, the buck stops with you. You're the one making the decisions. You're the one that when the problems come along, or even the joyful moments come along, you're the one steering the ship. And I think that that's why it's actually really important that you've got a really safe space. I mean, the Rose Review talks about the importance for having relatable role models, and actually I think that's vital, and that's one of the biggest barriers to women in business, is having relatable role models. So having that peer-to-peer support, having that natural mentorship that you have in a safe space where you can form these friendships, actually really helps you gently guide both your business, and kind of at the same time it can inform, if you wanted to, how you decide to navigate motherhood. So yeah.
Absolutely. If you are just joining us, I'm here with a lovely Faye from Freelance Mum. We are chatting all about how she's accelerated action in her business, what it's like to feel like a mum juggling life as a woman in business, as we champion and chat about International Women's Day. But also, when we're in Italy, we've got all the smells and all the feels going on. We are lightly browning off our onions and garlic in a pan, which hopefully will soft now. We've got some fennel. It's in season. It's delicious. And there's no excuse not to use fennel. It's just so good. And I love the amazing shape. My daughter loves drawing them. So chop yours in half if it's quite big. You need a little bit. It's great for flour. It's great roasted with chicken. It's great with prawns. It's great in a stew or a soup as a base. If you don't have any celery, just chuck in fennel instead. We're just going to use a little bit, and we're going to slice it really thinly, like you would an onion or celery, just to add a bit of flavour into this dish, because we're not using loads of herbs. We're just using some parsley. So we're going to cut it nice and small, and we're going to let it soften and cook down into the sauce to add in with our tomatoes.
I'm getting hungry just prepping this, Katie.
All about building flavour and allowing them to just kind of sit and marinate in them. But everything is quite quick and simple. They're really simple dishes. So I'm just going to add mine in. For feeding children, as I said before, shape and size kind of matters to children, because they taste things. They taste things so much stronger than adults do. Their taste buds are really vibrant and young and not damaged. So every taste is quite vibrant for children. So they do feel and do things a lot more intensely. So if you are making a family-friendly dish, just be mindful about that connection with the food and how big or small you're chopping it. I know that we can get frustrated because the onions are too big, or the carrots are too small, or whatever it is. But actually, they really do feel all of those things quite emotively, and they're not trying to be difficult. They're just trying to share their language of feedback of how the food tastes to them. And as they grow, they will experience it in different ways, and it will change as they get into those teenage years.
That's really interesting to hear, Kate. Have you ever really stopped to think about that at all? Like, actually that is part of them. You sort of think, oh gosh, are they just being fussy? They're going to like this thing, or so it's really interesting to hear. Yeah. That's actually.
So many of my children have thrown sweet corn back at me because it's been the wrong shape, and maybe at that time of their stages, it really was the wrong shape, and their changing of stages incorporated that really sensitivity to sensory things like shape and taste. So they are just stages, and you kind of have to roll with it.
Yes, yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that. It doesn't feel like that when you're weaning and you spent hours trying to produce something. I mean, weaning days are a long time ago now, but weaning days were a long time ago. But I can remember, you'd sort of spend a lot of time pouring a lot of love into something, and then you'd be like, I can't believe that you just spat that out or thrown it on the floor. Not that I don't cook with love now, but you know what I mean.
Oh, I know. So you should have that all in a pan now. Mix it in so it's all sweating down and gently softening. You should have some anchovies. I don't have any anchovies because I have an anchovy monster of a teenager in my house. We put them directly from the jar or tin where he's walking through the kitchen, and I can't seem to stop him. So what I thought was a whole jar of anchovies ended up being an empty one. So at this point, if you have anchovies and you'd like to add them, now is the time to add your anchovies. They are naturally seasoning. They build flavour in dishes. And they're just fantastic. They dissolve away. So it's not that that family will pick them out, because they literally dissolve into the sauce. Right. And they're a brilliant way of seasoning without using salt. So if you have them, please add them now and mush them around so they dissolve. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to get my wine, cider actually.
Cider?
Well, I don't have any wine either. And a puttanesca does have a glass of white wine in it. But I'm a believer of using what you've got in the house. I'm a believer of being sustainable, about using what's in your home and not always buying something specific. It is less authentic, but you've still got the flavour. And if you like the taste of what you're drinking, you'll like the taste of what you're building with the flavour in your dish. So I'm really a bit excited. Once you've got your anchovies in and your fennel is nicely softened, add your glass of wine or cider, and it should make that really big noise and bubble up. You want all of that alcohol to burn away, and you're left with that flavour. So let it bubble up really high, make that really big noise, and then as it calms down, the alcohol will burn away and you will be left with a lovely flavour. We're just going to boil that.
Good. Smells good. I want a glass of wine now. That does smell good.
We are talking to Faye from Freelance Mum all about how she's accelerated action for International Women's Day 2025. She's our 4th guest this year, and it's lovely to be cooking on a Friday evening. I love a Friday night cook along. It's great.
It feels right, doesn't it? I think it feels like the right thing.
It feels really fun. It's really relaxed. It feels just a good end to a week.
I agree, 100%.
Yes. So
now, the wine has now stopped the bubbling. I guess it's because it's colder, isn't it? So shall I turn the heat up? What do you recommend?
You want to make sure that it's boiling to reduce that, get that alcohol out, and also infuse that flavour into your fennel, garlic, and onions, and your anchovies if you're using them. And once that's bubbled a few minutes, you'll see it reduce quite quickly, and then you're going to add in your tomatoes. The recipe that I would normally use would be about 10 fresh tomatoes. I'd use it in nice height of summer, and it's a really, really lovely, fun, fresh dish. But we're not in summer, and they're not in season, so we're using tins. And 1 tin is plenty, but I'm feeding a lot of people, so I've got mix.
Now I'm going to wait for my pan to just start bubbling a bit because the wine has obviously cooled it down a little.
Yeah. Raise it up and then and it will naturally cool down once you add the tomatoes in again. Give it a really good mix to blend it completely.
Oh.
But before we add on fish, we're going to add a teaspoon, or 2 if you like them. I'm doing 1.5 teaspoons of capers. And then we've got olives of choice, but Kalamata olives are usual. So I've got half black, half Kalamata because that's what my family like. And
is it worth chopping the black olives? Oh, we've just got black. My girls really like black olives. So that's their thing.
Big, then you can cut them, but I quite like them whole. It's quite a chunky dish, I would say, because usually you would have them with fresh tomatoes,
right? And
so it would be quite you'd either add the tomatoes whole and let them reduce, or just chop them into 4 and add them. So it's quite a chunky kind of dish to have. And normally you would have it with spaghetti, and you would fold in the spaghetti into a kind of very loose tomato and olive dish. But we're baking our fish into the sauce instead of using the spaghetti.
It's delish.
It is such a lovely dish, and actually all you need is a bit of sourdough on the side just to scoop up the sauce with. But whilst my sauce is now, I'll show you, it's just bubbling away. I've got all of my ingredients in. I've got my onion, my garlic, my fennel, my wine, cider, my tomatoes, capers, anchovies, and olives. I haven't put any pepper in there yet. I'm just letting it build up that flavour, build up that heat, and I'm going to reduce it down to a bit of a simmer for a minute before we add in our fish. So many women face real challenges balancing business with work-life balance, with money mindset, because it's a really big one with women, and with the gender bias as well, and the dynamics of the home and how that looks, and being present as a mother, wanting to be present as a mother with your children. So what advice would you give if someone's looking to take the leap into being a freelance mum?
Oh, that's a great one, Katie. What advice would I give? I mean, you're almost going to know one of the things I want to say instantly is make sure you've got a supportive community around you, and it doesn't matter what that looks like.
Yeah.
And genuinely, because you're going to go on a journey. When you start a business, you probably don't realise quite what journey it's going to be yet. Like I said, just as with motherhood. So you're about to embark on the great unknown, and you're about to go without a map and a compass, okay? And you think you're going in that direction, but you're going to go in many different directions before you get there. So make sure
the friend's word pivot comes into play many times.
Yes, exactly that. So make sure you've got people that you can bounce those ideas off, and be prepared actually to keep an open mind on that, and be prepared to think. I love that Simon Sinek thing about connect with the why.
Yeah.
Like, it's really important to connect with the why. People don't buy what you do; people buy why you do it. And I think it's absolutely fine to keep connecting with your why, but think actually you might want to do it in a slightly different way while still connecting with your why. So if your why is supporting mums in business, if your why is about making sure that people can have mindful food, you can do that in many ways. It might not be the way that you started out, but just keep connecting with that why, I think, is really crucial. And I think the other thing, there's a couple of other things really, is, you know, is keep it simple, or don't overthink it, rather. Just go for it. If you've got an amazing idea, just go for it. Don't feel as though I've got to wait for the perfect moment. I've got to wait for the perfect website. I've got to wait for the perfectly curated Facebook post or Instagram post. I've got to wait for the perfect. There is no perfect moment. Just go out and give it a go. Don't overthink it. That's the most, just go for it. Yeah, and the other thing I think is, and I sort of started this motto quite early on in motherhood. I remember thinking done is better than perfect. And that was quite hard for me to take on board as a new mother, because I was used to doing things to kind of the perfection that I wanted it to be. But actually, that was the thing that could be a paralysis of creating an idea. So it's like, actually, done is better than perfect. You just need to go for it, and you're learning the whole time. So
yeah, I mean, I know when Helen Perry on Instagram, I bumped into via Instagram over COVID, and her tagline was always "just bloody post it."
yes,
And I really got that sense of done is better than perfect. And sometimes, as you evolve in your why and finding your people, which doesn't always happen straight away,
yeah,
so you do feel a bit that you find people and then you don't, and it's a bit of a journey.
yeah,
And sometimes you have to do done is better than perfect, and sometimes just bloody post it. And
yeah.
you have to kind of feel the fear and do it anyway, kind of motion,
Oh,
don't you?
absolutely, 100%. And then I think then on a more practical note, I wish now, like, just start curating what you do.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, start curating it. Start capturing moments. Even if you don't know what you're going to use it for, but I'd taken a photo of this was the first whatever it is, because you bet your bottom dollar that when you're 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line, you're going to want that bank that you can look back on. One, because it's a really nice way to just see and visually display how far you've come. But two, it's also from a practical point of view, that's a really useful thing to take note of as a business and as a business owner. And start to, if you manage to get a bit of press or a bit of PR or feature in a magazine or something, get that photo, get that snapshot, keep and start creating. You're almost like creating your own museum of you and your business as it evolves, and just keep that lovely, because it's really useful actually to reflect back on and see, well, I started at this point and now I am here. And you hear people talk about where you're moving the needle, where do you want it to be. Well, actually, it's you can articulate that, but sometimes it's really helpful to have good photographic evidence or a good notebook of ideas that you can look back on. So yeah, that's my practical advice. Yeah,
Freelance Mum has been a really good reference to that, because they've been, as you are part of a network, it doesn't matter if it's part of your family or part of an external family, like Freelance Mum, like Women in Mums in Business. They can see your journey and they can kind of help you reflect and make you pause and make you actually, yeah, from this time last year, or this time 2 years ago, I've come this far. And it gives you that confidence. It gives you that kind of sense of family, that your people are backing you and you're backing them. You're all mums in business. You're all women in business. And actually, we are stronger together and we do champion each other. And actually, that collaboration and connection for women is essential. We're not great constantly online. We need that tangible connection. And I've noticed a huge difference in being able to have that network, get out in seasons, connect with seasons, connect tangibly with people, going through struggles, going through triumphs, going through celebrations, going through all sorts of different things together. And I think that's one of the biggest things that really helps in business, that you actually don't realize that you take away, because you're just being real and authentic together.
Completely. It's just turning up and being, whatever face you are that day. And I often get asked by people, do you walk whatever the weather? Yeah, too right we do. We might sort of make it a little bit shorter, so you don't get completely sodden. But too right we do, because it is connecting with the seasons. It is getting outdoors. I mean, have you ever come back from a walk or a net walk and felt worse than when you started out? No. No, it gets you out of that slump that we can all get into from sitting and working at home on our own. By getting yourself out there, you're just connecting and you instantly come back and feel better.
At this point, you're sauce should be getting a nice bit thicker. I've got some stalks of my parsley that I've just cut that I'm going to put in, and I'm saving the other bits for the top in a minute, because if you put herbs in too quickly, when it's too hot, it can go a bit brown and lose its vibrancy, colour and flavour. Chop your stalks up nice and small and add those into the pan, and then we're going to add in our fish. I don't know what you've got there. I've put a variety of things on the choices for you.
I've got cod today.
I've not had it because it's in season at the moment. It was what the fishmonger had available, and it's not too expensive, and it firms up in the cold weather, in the cold sea, so it's quite a nice thing to use. I've got more probably than you because I'm feeding a few more people.
You've got more people in your household than me. That's for sure.
I cut mine into, you can see them into pieces like this.
Oh yeah.
And they're just going in to the sauce. I'm just sort of nestling them in, I would say. Mm-hmm. And you nestle them in.
Oh.
I've got too much fish for the sauce, but I'm just going to shove it in and it'll be absolutely fine. You can see that I've nestled my fish in like this. It's still a bit raised. Some of the fish you can see at the top there. And I'm just going to use my spoon to kind of push it under, submerge it. And it's going to nicely bake. I'm going to turn up my heat a little bit because it was just blipping away before. I just want a little bit more heat. So it's sort of low to medium. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take very long at all because the sauce is really hot. It's full of all that lovely flavour. And if you wanted to serve it with some rice or some couscous or pasta, you absolutely could. But it's absolutely fine and delicious just as it is, with some bread on the table. And then just leave it to blip away, and then cut some fresh parsley to serve it with. And that should just nicely thicken as we continue chatting. For me, food has always been an amazing way of bringing people together through just shared experiences, and in lots of different ways, with different senses and the different flavours and textures, and even just travelling around the world with you. It brings, I'm not there, but I feel a sense of connection with you, and we're building a memory and we're building something together. And every time I cook, with whoever I'm teaching, whether it's in person or online, there is a sense of building together and of building that connection that is really long lasting. It stays with me longer than when I finish cooking with you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know how your sessions, when you get together online or in person, how you feel that sort of sense of belonging and connection is kind of bedded in and grown with each other in the FMs, but also how that transfers then into their own business.
That's a great question actually, Katie, because as you know, last week I launched a new hub in Swansea. So it's our first hub in Wales, which is really exciting. And actually, it was happy coincidence that it should have been the same week as International Women's Day. It was really good, really good. And of course, it was St David's Day the weekend before. So it was like, this feels perfect.
A more perfect way to celebrate such a brilliant start to a new hub.
It was brilliant. So I was there in Swansea, and it was launched because one of my original freelance mums, Stacey from Bristol, had moved to Swansea, and she was like, I need the strength of the community in Swansea. I said, how would you, and this is going back a bit, she said, how would you feel about launching a hub in Swansea? I was like, yeah, let's do it. And we did some excellent manifesting skills. We really did. And so I was at this hub in Swansea, and the hub launch. And I was sitting around the table, and we were at a really lovely local cafe there, run by a local mum, called Full of Grays, actually. And I was just sitting and looking at it, and I thought, this feels like FM. Oh, wow. This feels like freelance mum. It looks and feels like it. And there's something about just bringing people, it comes from the heart. I think that's what it is. It comes from the heart, and then it translates all the way down. It's that ripple effect, isn't it? Yeah. And then one of the freelance mums who was on that taster, I mean, she just instantly signed up. Hannah, she's lovely, really, really lovely. And as you know, Katie, every week we do Freelance Mum Star of the Week, and it absolutely had to be Hannah. She turned up to that first taster, she signed up and became a member, and then she was there at the digital hub, and she's when I'd said, look, you're the freelance mum star of the week, I just feel so you have no idea how much that means to me, to feel seen and heard. And I was actually having quite a wobble as a mum in business, and this is completely, I can't thank you enough for what you've created, and I can't thank Ella and Stacey enough for then going on and setting up this hub. And you're like, it's heartfelt. I might have started it, but actually it's all those hub leaders, it's Jennifer and Katie in your Southampton hub. And it's those people who've seen it, liked it, gone, right, can I pick it up and create it here? There, yeah, too right, you can. We need to be seen and heard. We need a safe space where we can turn up, be the face of our business, and know that know that there's someone there who's going to listen to you that day.
It's really key. I mean, I turned up, warts and all last week. I really felt like I shouldn't have got out of the car. I've been selling and buying houses to try and grow my business and reroute my family for the next age and stages. Yeah. And I feel personally really wobbly. It's a really big stage for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm quite private, although I'm doing this, I am quite private, and I don't share a huge amount in hubs and in networking too much. But I was at a place where I really needed to trust someone. And the only people I could have thought of were actually other women in business, other mothers in business that know what it's like to have a wobble with your family when that's changing and not feeling like you're on steady ground. And you want to grow your business. And I know that people in Freelance Mum totally get it. They get the sleepless nights, they get the wobble in business, they get the wobble when you're moving your house, or you're not sure if you're going to, the peaks and troughs of money coming in and money going out. And I think that for me is just fantastic to be able to feel confident to go, I don't know if I should share, but I'm just going to turn up and cry. Yeah. And it's going to be okay because someone's going to listen to me and I'm going to feel heard and seen, and they're going to have some kind of amazing tips, or they're going to have a brownie and a hug, and we're all going to be in it together. And I think we all share that in no matter what hub you're in with Freelance Mum, because it's so tangible and it's a trusted sort of safe space.
Yeah, it is 100%. I can just say I've got a comment here from my lovely friend Michael, actually. Hello from Athens Air. Well, hello, Michael. I hope Radio Days was amazing. Hope you had the most fabulous time. Yeah, it is. It is all about that community. It is all about that community and that connection. I've got a gorgeous girl coming over here. Hello. This is my big girl. This is Jemima.
Looking forward to dinner.
Yeah, it smells nice.
It can smell good, does it?
I said that. It smells like fishy. Someone said that as well. Do you want to come over, Sue?
It smells like Italian sea, hopefully.
Yeah, it smells nice. That's good.
You just need to give it a little taste in case you need to season it, because I know if you add anchovies or not, you might need to add extra seasoning. I need a seasoning, so I've just added mine in, and just turn it down now, because if it's boiling a bit more, you can add it down a bit more.
That's really warm. Yeah, I'm going to blow on it.
Yeah. So while time is here, it's a perfect time to ask you what I ask every woman in business when they cook with me, especially through International Women's Day, which is, what legacy or baton do you want to pass on? Whether it's your beautiful daughters, because you're a woman in business and you want them to kind of have that baton of female entrepreneurship, or maybe that legacy is different with the fact that you started in Bristol and all of a sudden you have got hubs all over the country, and maybe your legacy is just building more hubs. I don't know, but what would be your kind of legacy or passing the baton on the way you see FM to be or going?
Oh, I'd love to think that my legacy for Freelance Mum is actually that community. Wouldn't it be lovely to think that actually if you took me out of it could still be there? Yeah. And that there is just this wonderful, it's almost like a tapestry, isn't it, that wherever you are, there is a hub. I remember once the girl said, "Oh, Mummy, what does the hub look like?" And I said, "Oh, well, it's and I was explaining that. Oh, and Jemima said, "Oh, I thought it might be something like, I always pictured it to be like a beach hut where people would turn up and they might make a cup of tea and they might work." I was like, "Oh, I quite like the idea of that." It's a very visual idea.
Has got that kind of wooden hat structure feel about it, though, like in a pictorial way, and especially for children.
Yes, it feels cozy, doesn't it? It feels like a place to go. So
I do this when I do a hub. My arms naturally want to go round. That's the hub. It's like we're all gathered together with different trajectories, with different ideas, but we're on the same path. We're all mums and women in business, striving to make an impact and be creatively heard.
yes, and that's exactly. And so I think my legacy would be to be able to empower every mum in business, you know, wherever they're at. I'd love to. I don't know how. I'm just going to say this out loud. I've not said this out loud before, but grants have actually been a really intrinsic to my business growth. They've really had a big impact. You know, when I went from one hub to many, I was very visionary. I was typical sort of Faye Dicker, typical visionary founder, all these amazing ideas that I made happen.
Yeah.
But there was a point where I felt a bit like, oh my goodness, is the wheel falling off? And I'd kind of done that thing where I'd run with these millions of ideas, but actually I was like, quite not all the systems are in place. And I applied for a grant, my first grant, it was £2,500. And I spent it, so I was allowed to spend it on mentoring with Creative Growth Southwest. Yeah, yes, of course you can, darling. And that really allowed me to then dig into the systems and processes of freelance mum, to then really dig into like how it's going to look and the branding. And from that, I've been successful in applying for, yeah, you have that, darling, in more than one Hungry Children now. They're flocking, aren't they? They're like kittens, you know, and cats. Come on, off you pop. You know, when cats start to rub around your legs, that's what it's like.
Like they
It's exactly,
don't they? Saying nothing, but you know the time is coming where they must be fed.
yes, exactly that. So yeah, so I've been successful in various grants, which have really helped scale up and launch new hubs. So I think for me, and I don't quite know how I would do this, but I'd love to think it'd be great if I could set up some kind of grant fund. And it doesn't have to be a huge pot of money, but something that would allow people that at a time that they need it, that actually they could apply for that. And even if it's just £500 to get you started, like how great would that be? So that's really big picture.
It's so hard to get investment as a woman, as a mother, and a woman in business. It you know, a Holly Tuckett is championing the way forward in that part of, you know, question. But it is really hard, and we do get knocked back more. And finding grants or finding investment is really tricky for women in business. And we impact the economy so much that you think there would be more understanding and more investment into us. But having a fund from another mother and woman in business to kind of go, you are seen, you are heard, you are valued, this does matter, what you're trying to do is achievable, and here's a starting point, is a great way to pass on a legacy and to pass on that baton. I think it's a great goal, I think, for you personally and for you and for the business to be able to kind of think, actually, maybe that, you know, we're not sure how, not sure when, but that could be a forward thinking way to support women in business.
I think that it would be wonderful, and to not just, you know, it's to have it with the knowing that you're part of that membership as well, so that you could spend it wisely. It's not just like, oh, okay, I think what I need is a printer. No. Yeah. Let's sit in and have a chat. Let's really get to the heart of your business. What do we think? Yeah,
because like you said, I was chatting to my graphic designer, or I was chatting to my brand person, or I was chatting to there's so many different industries in freelance mum kind of hubs around the country. Even if they're not in your hub, someone in the country will know some knowledge or have some skill or expertise on it. And so they can be advisory, 5 minute, half an hour, you know, online or on the phone to help you make those decisions. Even when I've been trying to find tech help, or I've been trying to trust someone with a website and I don't really know what to do, being able to say, hi everyone, I feel really out of my depth. Has anyone got any skills in this sort of area? Could you advise me? I don't know who to trust. That helps.
Yeah, it's like that shortcut almost, isn't it? It's almost like people come with a reference, you know. It's like, okay, you're part of mothership, I know that you're gonna have these values, you're gonna come in from this point, being self-employed, being a mother matters to you, you know, it's very
that shared interest, and that trust is almost it's like a fishing line. It's already there, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. That it's that beautiful shortcut in place. It's like we're on the same page. It's okay. We're part of this community. I don't have to explain myself to you. I already know that you get it. You know, and I think that that's really important. I don't know if you've heard this stat, Katie, but IPSI came out with this, and it's really quite sad. That actually female freelancers will charge 43% less the
Yeah.
male freelancers within the same industry.
It's
Now,
crazy.
isn't that sad?
It is.
So we've already got the
Turn your heat off.
we've already got the gender pay gap, in employment. But I think that actually, a lot of women leave employment to self-employment when they become mothers. Sometimes the confidence levels are damaged during that time as well for various reasons.
Yeah, I think it's a huge confidence issue.
Yeah.
It's not just the gender pay gap. It's not, there is a, we're doing such important roles, being mothers and being present, and then having the bravery, the curiosity, stamina, everything to start your own business. And it does take someone sometimes with a bit of accountability to hold your hand over that line and charge what you need to charge, or to be bold and ask for what, actually you are an expert in your field. Just because you're because you're a mother as well and a woman in business doesn't make you any less of an expert. Sometimes you just need more flexibility around being accessible or deliverable.
Yeah, completely that, Katie. It's like, I'm just choosing to work in a different way because I'm choosing to work in a way that supports my business, my family rather, and can support others, and I can be flexible. And of course, we know, Katie, as you get older, actually that caregiving role changes. You're looking after your children as they become older, and then you may take on more care and responsibilities for your parents as well. And so actually so it's ever evolving, and so having that flexibility of being a freelancer is absolutely vital. But I think that the confidence can sometimes be knocked, and that's why actually having people going, would you do me a favor and put up your prices, please? It's like you're worth it. You're worthy.
Needs another woman and mother in business to call you out on it and to go, come on, I think we need to go do this and let's do it together, and actually let's discuss this subject. Let's go for a walk. Let's open this topic up that feels comfy and uncomfortable and a bit cringy and a bit, I don't know how to talk about this. Okay, none of us do. So let's all open this subject up and let's all go and brainstorm and be accountable, and let's do it together in whatever industry we're in. And I think that there's so much empowerment in collaboration and doing it together.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Katie.
Off now. It should be nicely and resting. It's nice and thick. I'm just going to dish up a little bit so you can see what mine looks like.
No, I haven't I've put my parsley stalks in. When do I put the actual parsley in, Katie?
Okay. Parsley goes in right now. You gently give it a little stir.
It really is thickening up now. It's as you have spotted, my children have been.
Sprinkle mine on here just so you can see. And this is my lovely Italian-inspired cod or haddock, puttanesca Italian dish. You wanted to head to Italy before you think about going there for your summer holidays. So we absolutely have. It's got all the feels and smells of an Italian ocean. So hopefully you and the girls will really, really enjoy this dish. I just ask one thing that you do. It's just pause, eat and reflect. And we pause just to take a moment as a busy mum in business. That you created that time to feed yourself, to think about what's in season, to create time to cook from scratch, to feed yourself because you love yourself and you value yourself, and for your family, to make them nourished and feel good and eat the right things. And then you eat to invite all of your senses into every mouthful so you can really taste all that love and all that goodness that's going in, and just really enjoy it. Have those conversations, bring your collaboration, bring everything to the table and create those memories with your family. And then you just reflect, just let that sit with you, and that delayed gratification going forward. So pause, eat and reflect is something that's really good to introduce to families. It's really good when you're sat on your own, you're really stressed and busy, just to take that moment to eat and nourish yourself in the right way so you can mindfully actually make good decisions for yourself and for your own business.
Oh, Katie, I actually love you. You are amazing. Honestly, I just want to. Can we just cook and make every meal together forever, please? I just think you feel lovely.
Friday night, cook along with Katie and Faye. I think it's a thing.
Yes, let's make it so.
Club. Who wants to join us? Let me know in the comments if you'd like to join us every Friday. I would love to cook with you. If you live in Hampshire and you want to cook in person with me, you can at the end of the month. I am doing a pop-up in Winchester. You can cook anti-inflammatory foods with me, and we're going to talk a little bit more about nutrition and health. But I also do lots of work online as well, and as well with businesses. So I'd love to hear more from you if you would like to work with me. But I love hearing about how you accelerate action in your business, Faye, because you really have. You've taken one idea from one overwhelmed, isolated mummy with a little 8-month-old Jemima and gone, actually, I need some connection. And you've built an amazing business that of collaboration and connection and joy, and so many mums, expert mums in business. And it's just wonderful to watch, to see how far you have actually accelerated. So thank you so much for joining us, inspiring us, and cooking with me.
Oh, well, thank you, Katie. Thank you for being part of it. I absolutely adore having you in 3 Months Mum, and it's just been a pure joy cooking with you on this Friday evening.
Enjoy your food. I can't wait for the girls to give me some feedback, and enjoy your Friday night off.
There's nothing more honest than a child's feedback when it comes to food. Yeah.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you so much for cooking with me and Faye. If you enjoyed it, then you can cook again with us and join us for our 5th guest, Sam Parsons, who runs Winchester Pilates, and I can't wait for you to meet her, chat about her story and cook along with us. I will see you then, and thank you so much for cooking along with us.